Hello again, everybody. This is part 4 of an ongoing series documenting our trip to the Baltic Sea in September of 2018. If you haven't seen all the previous episodes, I've put a link to them down in the description section of this YouTube page. If you are caught up on all the episodes, then we continue the action somewhere in the Baltic Sea up north of Poland. Hope you enjoy it. Campers, it's Thursday, day 3, I guess we would call this. We were tired. We got up at 9:30, ready to start our day. I'm going to guest services to see about an escape room. Okay, so we got a few people to sign up for the escape room thing, but now Dana and I are starving. So we're going to come up here to the garden thing and get some food. Okay, so now we have a group doing this kind of like an escape room idea.
The actual name of the event is Escape the Big Top. This is a free challenge that you sign up for through the box office or guest services. It works something like an escape room, except that you're not really escaping from anywhere. You're just trying to solve critical thinking puzzles before time runs out. Oh, and you're also competing against other teams.
Okay, we're day 3 on the ship, and we are in the Spiegel room. It's called Escape the Big Top. It is their version of an escape room. So our team, they got some cocktails, and we're waiting for this thing to kick off here in about 10 minutes. There's a couple other teams. So we're going to try and beat, I think. There's a couple teams there. So should be interesting. We'll see how it shakes out.
My name is Benjo. I'm part of the cruise director staff. Give me a big wave. Everybody say hello, Benny.
Hello, Benny.
What is my name?
Benny.
In this room, you'll find 6 clues, which can be solved using the circus posters and carnival games around the stage, as well as other items I placed on your tables earlier. Nothing has been hidden in the room. Everything you need, like in all good magic tricks, is in plain sight. Good luck. You're going to need it.
I would like to ask you each team, I want you to assign team captain. Team captain must be 18 and up.
So we chose Darren to be our team leader. He was made to put on a silly bandana. I'm not sure why.
That is your
We do have the 4 clue pages. Alright, so I'm going to give you 45 minutes to solve the puzzle. Good luck, and the timer starts now.
Okay, let's do it.
I think this is supposed to be.
Hey, kids.
Hey!
Hi. Help us.
Yes, yes.
The puzzles were pretty challenging, but once you figured one out, you'd feel really smart.
Okay, so we got this sheet here, and I don't want to give away anything, but you take this thing and you look at the clues and you look at the games and you try and figure out codes. And we did figure this one out. Moving on.
Anyway, the challenge took about an hour, and then a bunch of us headed outside and upstairs to the sports complex to tackle the ropes course. There are just a few rules for using the ropes course. You must be at least 4 feet tall, you cannot weigh more than 300 pounds, and you must wear closed-toed shoes like sneakers, no sandals or flip-flops. And you should probably use the restroom beforehand so that you won't have an accident while you're standing on the plank. As I got there, several of our group was already on the course. I stayed down below to film them before attempting the course myself. The first round of brave souls from our group consisted of Vern, Carla, Darren, and Sandy. There's no defined path once you're up on the ropes course, and there is no time limit. Each little hub has 2 or 3 paths leading from it to a different hub, which has another 2 or 3 paths, so the ropes course is a little bit different for each person. On the starboard side of the course is where the infamous plank lives. The plank is an 8-foot beam about 6 inches wide that hangs out over the deck of the ship with nothing but the water below. Now everyone is safely harnessed in, and there is no real danger of falling to the waves below, but even so, the intimidation factor is real. For some people. Sandy ran straight out there with no problem. Carla did a one-legged ballet move. Vern leaned back on his harness, really putting his trust in the safety straps. And Darren did his best Karate Kid impression. They really sort of set the bar high. After the rock stars got down, it was time for the second round of ropesters, including me. Already up on the course were Elaine, with Lee watching from below, Rochelle, with her brother Ben waiting underneath to catch her should anything go wrong, and Ginny, with her husband Jeff below taking pictures. I had to change cameras since video cameras are not allowed on the course. But GoPro cameras are allowed as long as you use the body strap, not the head strap. This gentleman's name is Noel.
Yeah, now it's recording.
He's the recreation manager of the Breakaway, and he was kind enough to not only help me into my harness, but to help me get the GoPro up and running.
Hello. Hello there.
Have you done this before?
Yeah. Alright.
Okay, just give me a second. The rules are very simple. No running, no jumping, no swinging. Your sling should always be in front of you, never behind. One person on the element at a time. Avoid touching the overhead shack and don't tamper with your safety devices, okay?
Okay. How was it? It was great. Oh my goodness. All of this was nothing when I got out on the plank. That's when I was filming you.
Once we were recording, I hurried to catch up to the second round of climbers.
I love the pirouette. That was awesome.
Like I said before, each hub has various directions you can take.
So we got like this situation going on.
So just take the one that you're most comfortable with. Again, there is no time limit, so you just go at your own speed.
And you're looking out over the edge of the ship, and that's not very fun. Virginia just went running across this thing. Make the loop. What is that thing? I don't know what that is. Temporarily closed. All right, well, let's go out over here. This looks pretty scary. That is literally a rope.
People can get past you on the course if they wish. It's not a race.
How are you?
Wait till you do that.
Yeah.
You fly.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Did you do the plank too?
Yes.
Yeah.
They have the camera guy did.
Oh, great.
Good.
So he can see my pain. This is my favorite one. It's got a cheat sheet. I got a good view of the miniature golf course up here. All right, let's go across this bad boy. So bad. Yeah, see, these are easy. They're all steady. I mean, it's really solid. And it's easy just to walk across. Stuff like this is just easy. That stuff right there, I don't like that.
As I made my way over to the starboard side of the course, I could see some of our people sort of stacked up at the plank. Once you're actually up there looking down, there are certainly some nerves that set in, and Rochelle and Ginny were having trouble making their way out onto the treacherous walkway.
I'm filming you now. Oh, did you? Get out there, you'll never forgive yourself.
I still had a little bit of course to cover to catch up to them, so I made my way along.
Well, while they're doing that, and I'm going to be the same way. Again, this stuff isn't so bad. Oh, and it's got a rope here anyway.
And as I neared the corner, I turned and saw that Ginny had mastered her fears and was hanging out over the nothingness like a pro.
Oh my God.
Now, as I approached, I learned that Rochelle had turned away twice from walking the plank. Now, in her defense, Rochelle is a tiny lady and the wind was just being a bully to her. I'm 6'2", 200 pounds, and the wind was being a bully to me. So she must have felt like nothing more than a kite at the mercy of the wind.
Come on, Michelle! No, I don't know. I feel strange. Okay, I'll try.
Do you see that strap right there? That strap is just something else to hang on to as you try to turn yourself around. Do you see how it's standing straight out against the wind? That's how hard the wind was blowing, making this already intimidating walk all the more stressful. Well, the third time was the charm for Rochelle. She was able to dig deep, ignore the wind, and walk out to the end with a giant smile. I was pretty proud of her for conquering that moment.
that sucks because now I have to go.
Now, those that know me best know that heights are one of my least favorite things, right up there with cherry tomatoes. But for the sake of the website, I overcame my fears long enough to walk the freaking plank and have the photographer take this picture before I ran crying back to hug the pole.
Yeah, that was horrible. Did that for you people. Yeah, that's pretty gnarly.
Once you get past the plank, and you don't have to do it if you don't wish, you get into this corner where there's a short zip line. Now again, there are various paths to take, so the zip line can be avoided if need be, but zip lines are generally fun, so I decided to go that way. Unfortunately, the zip line didn't quite go as planned for Ginny, who started out strong, but then ran out of momentum about 3/4 of the way to the end and got a little bit stuck. My zip line concluded without incident, which brought me back to the exit of the course.
I don't do heights.
Yourself?
No. No.
I figured that I had had enough of the ropes course for the day and made as graceful an exit as I could down the steps.
That was crazy. I am never doing that again.
After I got down and unharnessed, I got Rochelle's triumphant reaction.
Hey Rochelle, who's a superstar? She was out there, you know, smiling. I didn't think she was ever going to come back. It took us 15 minutes to get you out there, and now, come on, give me a turn. Yeah, getting out there and then turning around, that was no fun at all. No, because I got these big feet and the planks like that.
You know you're strapped in.
I know.
Go anywhere.
There's no way I'm going to fall. And it's really windy.
Me, because I have a small stature, the wind was...
It's blowing you around like a rag doll. Yeah.
No, otherwise I could go.
Yeah.
I was afraid of wind, but I guess...
Yeah, I'm afraid of wind, heights, cold, rain, thunder.
And anything else.
Yeah.
Well, we had a pretty exciting morning, but since we weren't going to be at our next port of call until the following morning, we had the rest of the day at sea. And if you don't mind, I'm going to take this opportunity to give you folks a little tour of the Breakaway in case this ship is something you might want to visit in the future. Let's go up one flight of stairs to deck 18 and visit the basketball court. This is actually a very nice full-sized court covered with a net so that the ball won't fly into the ocean, because that would suck. It can also be easily converted into a small indoor soccer court. Back down on deck 17 is where you will find the sports complex. You've already been introduced to the ropes course, but there's also a rock climbing wall and a miniature golf course. Down the steps to deck 16, we find the entrance to the 5 water slides. There are 2 freefall water slides, which are exactly what they sound like. You stand on a trap door until it literally drops you into a chute, sending you hurtling through a tube that extends over the edge of the ship. The whip is another duo of side-by-side tubes that corkscrew all the way down to a splash landing. The last slide is a gentler slide that has plenty of twists and turns but doesn't have the speed of the other slides and is more suitable for the whole family. And while we're here, let's peer down onto deck 15 and get a look at the aqua park. Directly below the water slides is a swimming pool, and right next to it is the kids' aqua park. It has a tiny slide and a small wading pool for the youngest swimmers to splash around in. Directly behind me is the larger swimming area. This area has a larger swimming pool, waves bar, a stage for live music, and 4 hot tubs. This is actually the hot tub we were in last night. Back on deck 16 starboard and directly below the miniature golf course is Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville at Sea. Just like the chain restaurant, this is a good place to stop for having some nachos, a salad, a hamburger, or some fish tacos. They also have the chill bar where you can order any drink you like. But please keep in mind that this restaurant is considered a la carte and not included in the price of your cruise. You will pay extra for eating here. Directly opposite from Margaritaville on the port side of the ship is the Video Arcade. This is a pretty good sized room with a great selection of entertainment for anyone who enjoys a good video game. They have skee-ball, air hockey, games of chance, and many driving games. And appropriately located right next door to the arcade is Entourage, the Teen Lounge. This is a place where kids between the ages of 13 and 17 can be themselves and meet new friends. There are plenty of video games, movies, and couches to hang out in. The only thing missing are the adults. And at the very back of the ship, or aft as we say, is Spice H2O. This little oasis is inspired by summer beach parties on the island of Ibiza. It is an adults-only escape with contemporary Asian influences. You can lay out and catch sun rays, cool off in the waterfall pool, or take a soak in one of the 2 hot tubs with a cocktail from the nearby bar. In the evenings, dance underneath the stars next to the giant video screen. Now that sort of wraps up the upper decks of the ship, but also on deck 15 are the spa, the gym, and the garden cafe. I then went back to our room to drop off the GoPro and my backpack, and when I got there, I found a new roommate watching over things while we were out. As I went out again, I decided to start on deck 6 aft and work my way forward. In the back of the ship, across the hall from each other, is a pair of twin complimentary restaurants. Savor and Taste are main dining options for folks who would like to try a dining experience other than the gigantic, crowded Manhattan room. They both have ocean views and serve contemporary cuisine. Between the 2 restaurants, you can wait for your table in the Mix Bar. You can sit here, have a specialty drink, mingle with friends, and listen to live piano music while waiting for your table. As you head into the central part of Deck 6, on the starboard side is Teppanyaki, another a la carte restaurant. If you don't know what teppanyaki is, think Benihana. It's a restaurant where cooks prepare your food on a giant grill right in front of you. The cooks are like the Harlem Globetrotters of the grill, and as I was walking around taking pictures of the empty restaurant, I found one of the cooks practicing his moves on his own.
Keep going.
Next door to Teppanyaki is Le Bistro. This a la carte restaurant features Mediterranean and French cuisine. They seem to have some kind of connection with Veuve Clicquot champagne because it was everywhere. You can sit inside on the restaurant or outdoors in the hallway, making it feel like a sidewalk cafe. As I passed into the atrium area, I found Benny leading a group of folks in some kind of a trivia contest.
What activity are you engaged in when your blood pressure is at the lowest? Eating. No, just kidding. It's sleeping. Drinking is highest.
Right next to the atrium is guest services and the shore excursions desk. If you'd like to book an excursion through the ship or have some kind of a question or issue on the ship, these are the people who can help you.
What is the middle fruit in front of the logo? Anybody? Grapes? Anybody? Any other fruit? Apple? Any other fruit? Kiwi? Banana. Banana. Are you ready for the right answer?
Right past the atrium is the Spiegel Tent where we had the Escape the Big Top challenge earlier that morning. To the right of the Spiegel Tent is the box office, which leads to the Breakaway Theater. This 800-seat venue is the site of Broadway-style shows like Rock of Ages and the Burn the Floor Dance Review, and sometimes it's even a great spot to hold bingo for a large group. As I finished Deck 6, I began to get thirsty, so I went back to the atrium bar and had a bartender make me a Mai Tai. Here's a gentle warning to all people traveling on any Norwegian cruise line ship. There is a new policy on Norwegian where they have done away with all plastic straws. Someone estimated that Americans use 500 million plastic straws daily, and for one reason or another, they wind up in the ocean, which is bad for fish and birds. I actually applaud Norwegian's stance on the plastic pollution. The problem is that they haven't come up with a replacement solution, and some things that they serve on the ship really need a straw in order to drink them. Imagine trying to drink a chocolate shake without a straw. Well, that's what I found out when my Mai Tai arrived. Beautiful and tasty, but a little hard to drink. Now that I had a fruity drink in hand, I headed upstairs to take some pictures of Ocean's Bar and Grill. This is also a pretty good spot to watch what's happening in the atrium since you can look straight down into it from above. And in the very back of the ship, I ventured into the Manhattan room as they were setting up. This complimentary dining room is designed to feel like a New York City supper club. There's a jazz trio that plays softly in the background while you eat, and some people actually get up to dance.
Okay, on my way to this Cirque Dreams show. I'm not sure what that is. It's fun.
At 5 o'clock, several of us got tickets to go see the Cirque Dreams show in the Spiegel Tent. I gotta say, the show was pretty freaking spectacular. It is very much like Cirque du Soleil if you've ever seen one of those shows. Any one of the performers in this show would be a fantastic addition to one of those shows. It is an entire dinner show filled with people doing superhuman tricks that human beings shouldn't actually be able to do. The several of us that went had a great time, and I would recommend this show to anyone. After the show was over, I went back to touring the ship, and I started on Deck 8 aft. There are two restaurants at the back of the ship, sort of partnered together. Moderno Churrascaria is an a la carte Brazilian steakhouse. They have an extensive salad bar, but they are also known for carving slow-roasted skewers of meat right at your table. Across the room is Cagney's Steakhouse. This is an American steakhouse specializing in premium choice cuts of Angus beef. And between the two restaurants is the Prime Meridian Bar, where you can order your favorite beverage while waiting for your table at either of the two steakhouses. A very cool thing about the restaurants and bars on Deck 8 is what's known as the waterfront. The waterfront is an extension of each participating bar or restaurant where they have added outside seating where you can have your dinner or drinks looking directly out over the ocean. This is the waterfront seating for Moderno Churrascaria, and this is the waterfront seating for Cagney's. The crew at Cagney's was so funny. They asked me what I was doing with the camera, and when I told them it was for our YouTube channel, they told me they all wanted to be on it. So I told them if they smiled and waved, I would put them in my video. So here you go, folks. Welcome to Dapple Destinations TV.
Just everybody wave. Wave. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
As we head forward on Deck 8, we pass through what I call the shopping district. These three stores are really one long giant store with three entrances. They sell beauty products, perfumes, and watches from all the top brands. In this area, you'll also find ladies' apparel and your duty-free liquor store. Moving forward again, I came across Shaker's Martini Bar. Not only do they specialize in a variety of martinis, but they also have live entertainment. Now, the entertainment sounded very loungy to me, but the people and the servers were having a really good time. Right next to Shaker's is the Ice Bar. It's exactly what it sounds like. If you'd like to visit it, go early on in your cruise to get a reservation. As we reach midship, we find the Raw Bar. This casual a la carte counter is a great place to grab some shellfish, oysters, dessert, a cocktail, or a glass of wine before or after a show. Right next door is Ocean Blue. This a la carte seafood restaurant creates dishes using the freshest fish and the finest ingredients. They also have an extensive wine list and cocktails. Across the way is Wasabi. This is the ship's popular a la carte sushi bar. Sit at the counter, at a table, or on the waterfront for your yakitori, sashimi, and sushi favorites. The crew at Wasabi was also very curious about the camera, but like the folks at Cagney's, I am only too happy to give a shout out to friendly people.
Thank you.
As I made my way to the forwardmost public area of Deck 8, I stumbled across a barbershop sextet. I know that's not really a thing, but these folks were singing a barbershop quartet arrangement with 6 voices, so a couple of them were doubling up. Now, not too many people know that I can actually sing, but I used to be in one of these groups when I was younger. And just like these folks, you would always try to find a corner, a hallway, a bathroom, anywhere that had exaggerated acoustics to make yourself sound better. The funny thing is, this wouldn't be the last encounter we had with this group. Stay tuned for further episodes to see where they pop up next. After the impromptu concert, I strolled into Malting's Beer and Whiskey Bar. Sit inside or outside and enjoy an impressive list of imported beers and whiskeys. And in the back of the bar, they even have the Humidor, a separate cigar lounge for those who appreciate that sort of thing. Across the hall is La Cucina. Dine indoors or on the waterfront with pasta carbonara, lobster fettuccine, and all your Italian favorites. It was now getting late, and after touring the ship for hours, I was pretty tired.
Hey, Bobby here. So Dana went to bed at like 7 o'clock, and while she was sleeping, I decided to go out and just cover the ship with all the filming, all the footage that I'm going to use to cut up the testimonials when I get home. But I've kind of done it all now, so I am going to take the rest of the night off, and I'm going to go find me somewhere to sit down and have a Mai Tai without a straw, and play maybe some blackjack and see if anybody else pops up. But this may be the last you hear from me for today. I think I'm going to take a night off.
As it turns out, even when I take a night off, I continue working. I went right back down to Deck 8, and across the hall from La Cucina is the ship's rock club, Sid Norman's Poorhouse. This is a small rock club with a great house band playing all of your favorite rock songs from the last few decades. And as an added treat, some of the cast members from the ship's onboard cast of Rock of Ages regularly join the house band to keep up their chops. I hung out here for a bit and had a couple of cocktails before turning off the camera for good.
If you have any questions, please enter them in the comment section below. And as always, please like and subscribe to our channel by clicking our little picture here on the side. And we'll see you next time.